Hi, everyone. Do you all see the screen shared? Hi, Birna. Hi, Harry. Hi, Mohammed. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Sorry.
Awesome. Brilliant. Awesome. Thanks, Harry, for mentioning on the chat as well. Do you introduce yourself in the chat so we can make this a bit relevant? Do you see my screen? The PowerPoint is clear?
No, I can't see a PowerPoint on your screen.
Oh, you don't see it? Okay, let me fix that. Do introduce yourself in the chat. What industry, what business are you in? And what's your challenge about sales? But let me. Okay, let's start with it. Now, you can see. Birna, can you see the PowerPoint now?
Yes, yes, thank you.
Brilliant, awesome. Excellent. Yeah, strategic marketing and consulting. Brilliant. Mohammed, do introduce yourself. Harry, introduce yourself in the chat. Let's get to know you. Student recruitment. Student recruitment could be for further studies, for advanced schooling, or for getting into the industry. Yeah, higher education, got it. So what's your biggest challenge in sales? Why? Presentations that sell. Nice. Persuasion tips, nice. I think children can be the worst people to persuade in the world, right? There's so much of peer pressure. And sometimes they just wonder if they ever think straight. Don't they see sense in what we tell them? Harry, I hear you and I feel you. Okay, brilliant. I think some people will join shortly, but we're going to get started.
Are you guilty of laying off your people, especially in these testing times? The number one reason is that your business is not making enough revenue. Sales is the lifeblood for any business. And the truth is, most entrepreneurs are not good at selling. The truth is, sales can be tough, frustrating, maybe embarrassing. And why? Because 88% of CEOs and business owners have never professionally trained themselves in selling techniques. They rely on sales teams to drive their numbers. We understand your frustration. Today, after 20 years of hands-on selling experience and achieving more than $100 million in sales revenues, the 10x Sales Mastery for CEO and entrepreneurs has learned that sales is a game of numbers. Selling can be fun, and especially once you win, it's liberating, it's fulfilling, and very rewarding. Not just for you, also for your family and your employees. Good salespeople are the first ones to get hired. Good salespeople are the last ones to be fired. Our mission is to impact your life with a winning sales acumen. It's liberating, it's the proven 10x Sales Mastery for CEO and entrepreneurs will equip you with the perfect elevator pitch and positioning. It is backed with an intensive weekly accountability tracker that guarantees the performance to make your business revenues not only consistent but also predictable. So here is your challenge. If you want to get really rich, then train yourself in sales like your life depends on it. Because the truth is, your business surely does.
So Mohammed, do introduce yourself. It would be great to know what you do and stuff, so I can try and make this as relevant as I can. Especially since we're a small group, it gives me an opportunity to make it as relevant to you and your industries as much as I can. So welcome to Pitch to Profit from Rooftop Sales. And I want to start with a quick story. So, in Africa, there were two salesmen who went. The company, two different companies had hired two different salespeople, and they sent them to Africa for selling. And both happened to be in the shoe business, okay? And they were competitors. But as soon as the first guy went there, he came back with a phone call to his own company in say 24 to 48 hours. And he's like, you know what? This Africa is such a poor country. There is nothing we can sell shoes here to, because everyone literally is barefoot. And that was his perspective. And he's like, set my flight back and I need to return. There is nothing I can do here. But some of you may have guessed what the other salesman did. He actually called straight to the factory. And he's like, there's a lot of opportunity. Nobody is wearing shoes here. So, let's set up different lines of production for this country according to their shoe sizes, according to their color, interest, their values, whatever they like. And, let's set up a brand new factory, a line of production for this country. And that's two different viewpoints about how you can see it. So how many of us think COVID has been tough for a lot of companies? How many of you, so let's use the chat and type in, how many of you think COVID has been tough to a lot of companies, maybe even us? But COVID has also brought in a lot of opportunities. So this workshop is about a little bit about how we can keep sales consistent and how do we keep getting profitable clients even in the toughest times and what it takes to get there. How many is excited? Let me know yes in the chat if you're interested. So very quick housekeeping about multitasking. I'm sure it's very easy in this virtual life to multitask because we can always keep doing multiple things. And just encourage you to stay with me for 90 minutes. I normally talk very fast and I'm going to cover a lot of concepts all over the place. It will be mixed and matched and you pretty much will want to identify what you want to take away. Okay, so try not to multitask. Be with me for about 60, 90 minutes now. Take a lot of notes because it will, if you take some notes, you will digest it better and you will be able to reuse that content and material. We are going to use chat as a mode of discussion. So we will encourage you to engage. And the more you engage, the more present you will be and the more relevant the workshop will sound to you. Okay, so do use the chat. And I will take questions in the end. So we would normally finish by 8:30-ish, and I will take 30 minutes extra for questions about your own questions about sales that you may have. And I can take an extra 30 minutes at the end of the workshop. So I would encourage you all to write down your questions and let's take them in the end. So anything about your own world where you want to clarify some challenges, and we'll do that in the end. Okay. In case you see an aha moment, or if you like something, or if it's changed your perspective during this workshop, do share an aha in the chat. Okay, so that's nice. Like I said, questions going to be in the end. And we also have a special bonus in the end. So do stay till the end. There will be a bonus midway, but there's a special bonus in the end, which is shocking for most. We believe in diamonds. Okay, so we love diamonds. Who loves diamonds? So since I don't see most of you are not on video and stuff, do put yeses or no's in the chat because I keep asking a lot of questions, and when you keep answering, I make things more relevant for you. Okay, so let's see how you chat. Let's see how you type in the chat. Let's say yes in the chat. Hello. Let's say yes in the chat, or let's say no in the chat. You've got another Harry coming. All right, yeah, sure, awesome. So let's type diamond in the chat. Mohammed, are you able to? I think he's driving. So no worries, Mohammed. Don't type in the chat. Okay, so Birna and Harry. Let's have some more engagement in the chat, okay? So now very quickly, why is this workshop? Yeah, raise hands perfectly work. That's absolutely cool as well. So why is this workshop important? Because sales is a lifeblood for any business, okay? Whether you're an employee or a business owner, sales is the lifeblood for any business. So can you quickly tell me, if you're a business owner, type BO in the chat. If you're an employee, type E in the chat. E or BO, what is it? Are you all BOs or are you E's? Employee, put an E. Harry, thanks for sharing. Mohammed, you can speak up if you don't need to chat. I can understand you are driving. Birna, are you employee or business owner? E, awesome, awesome. So we've got employees. Awesome. Mohammed, would you let me know wherever you can? No problem, no rush. Excellent. So, as employees, sales is the rainmaker for any business, right? So the revenues, and the more sales happen and the more products sell, that's when the revenue comes into the business. And normally we do certain workshops like the mindset from employee to entrepreneurship, where an employee can work in his company behaving like an owner, like, as if it's your own. Would you do that? Sometimes we say payments don't come. Sometimes we say, well, but would you do that if it was your own company? So we encourage that value system where you start looking at that company as your own, and and that sort of a thing. And when that commitment comes in, your performance to scale and rise up the ladders is much more faster than ever. Okay, so you've got to find ways to find more income for the businesses that you're supporting as employees. Okay, and also sales is the highest paying job in the world. It's one of the most highest paying skill in the world. So, and sales skills are for life, especially in the low economy. So it's just more about how do you position the same pitch and position and sell it to another customer or go to another industry. So let me quickly know from you, do you like, love, or hate selling? Let's have a like or love in the chat. Do you like, love, or hate selling? Let's get to know your relationship with selling. Let's get a like, love, or hate. Like, okay, lovely. Anyone love, hate? Oh, okay, lovely. So that's fine. The fact is, there was this, let me give you the scenario about this one employee, and sales can be a very stressful job, right? And his boss was like, did you get any sales today? Did you get any orders today? And he goes like, did you get orders today? And every day that boss would come to that employee and he'd be like, did you get orders today? Did you get orders today? And one day that guy got so frustrated and he was like, yes, I got 2 orders today. And the boss was like, wow, not bad. What were they? And he's like, get out and stay out. And that was the 2 orders he got. But how many of you can relate with that? Like, as sales, how many feel sales can become very pushy sometimes, very arrogant sometimes? Hate that question, though, right? Oh, I agree with you, Harry. I mean, so we like to shift it a little bit because sales cannot be all number driven. It needs to start becoming action driven. And that's the first shift that anyone needs to have, including the bosses, because it's more about if your action goes in, numbers will come, and the more the actions will go in the right places, the numbers do come. So sales, we say in our world that it's a science. There's no way a number would be missed. If the right amount of action goes in, the numbers do come in. It becomes extremely predictable and extremely consistent. And that's what is important. But the only reason why someone would not like selling is definitely you won't like selling because you've been rejected. Come on, we're all mature people. We understand that we need to sell whether you like it or not. Am I right? It's not because you're lazy. that you don't like selling. It's not because you don't like people. Of course, we go out socializing, and everybody, the best salespeople are little children. Any of you married? Any of you is married? If you're married, say M in the chat. If you're married. If you're married, yeah, Harry? If you're married, that means you're in sales. Because you wouldn't have ever got your spouse, if you were not in sales. I mean, sales is a skill I use maximum with my children to get them to do something that, maybe they approve or not approve or whatsoever. And I know Harry's into the children mode. So you get sold too, right? All the time, right? I mean, I don't know how you do it. So definitely you won't not like selling because of all this. There's only one reason why people don't like selling, and I'll come to that in the next slide. But have you noticed that 80% of sales are won by 20% of the people? How many of you have seen that? If you have, say I in the chat. It's like the Pareto Principle that goes with everything. But even right now, if you see the real estate brokers, the market has been down, right? Completely down. But there are some brokers who have sold maximum amount of property. And they just do it because prices were down. So obviously the investors want to buy those distressed deals. And they had that knack. It's again the perception that we're talking about. Yeah, the Pareto's principle. So there are always these smart geeks everywhere. And what does it take to become that 80%? How many of us want to become that 80% who win, want to be the 20% who win 80% of the sales? Right? So the point is, does that mean the rest of the 80% don't do anything and don't contribute? But that's a fact, right? But how can we get the rest of the 80% of the people to start doing much more on bringing revenue for the company? So the only reason, who wants to know which is the only one reason that people don't like selling? It's because you don't know what you're doing. It's because you're not winning. If you win sales, this is one profession you will never leave. Let me repeat this. If you start winning more sales, it's one thing that you will never leave. And whether you're an employee as a salesperson, or even if you're like doing whatever, this is one skill which is a life skill. You've got to know it. Okay, it's negotiation, it's persuasion, it's about saying something, how someone is going to say it and how it's going to best land. It's all about selling, right? And why you're not winning is probably because you've got something wrong somewhere in your process. Like I said, sales is a science. There are steps to it. If you skip steps, something's going to get lost somewhere, okay? And anyone who cannot sell and anyone who cannot close deals is irrespective, is never going to like selling, just that's it. So what we can do is to improve our sales skills, and then that's what makes it all fun. And one more thing is, no matter how much I speak to you, or no matter how much videos you watch on YouTube, or no matter how many books you read, this is an action-oriented skill. You've got to learn it by applying, and you only get better at applying. So you can listen to this and you'll get some tips on what to do, what not to do, but then you've got to go apply it again and again. And that's the reason I said put notes in. So whenever you get any ideas, there is a process and there are some steps that I'm going to share. And you've got to not skip anything. When you do that, you only become better sales people. And when you get it once and then you get it second time, you're going to go on a complete high. It's addictive. You will want to keep doing more and more, and you will want to keep on exceeding what you ever did in the past. How many of you know what I'm talking about? If you do, say yes or no. If you don't know what I'm talking about, say no. But tell me a yes if you know what I'm talking about. How many we chat in the chat box? So do engage and communicate with us. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, right, Harry? So when you get the hang of this, it's like it's so addictive, you'll never let it go. You will just want to keep doing more and more and much bigger deals. Okay, so let's get there. So what does it take to get there is what this one is about, right? So we're very passionate about sales, and it's one reason that's made me financially free, literally, and I'm going to share that shortly. But I want to understand and I want to wonder, if I'm saying that it's about practice, Now, this is important. If sales is about practical practice, would you practice? Are you prepared to practice and improve your sales skills? So now, would you rather practice in front of your customers, or would you rather learn with an accountability partner? You've got to practice. So one takeaway from this workshop, if you take this one takeaway, if you see these movies, you know, where the salespeople are like, you know, all these movies, I know hundreds, but I can't talk about one. But, you know, they're always practicing. So what you need to do is find an accountability partner. Take your spouse, take your colleague, take your, you know, any friend or whatever, and go through the entire pitch that you're going to have with that potential customer before you go in front of that customer. This is the key. You've got to practice the whole thing. So you already know what he's going to say. Come on, if you actually give it 2-3 minutes before you go into that meeting, if you even give it just 5-10 minutes before you go into that meeting, and you relay in your mind, what could he say? What will he probably, how will he react? When I say this, what potential can he say? And if you script it out in your mind, and that's not enough, guys, you cannot just say it in your mind. It's not enough. You've got to speak it. You've got to speak it with someone. You've got to speak it with a colleague. You've got to speak it. And this is the biggest breakthrough in sales. So some people are normally in the bathroom talking, or they're in front of a mirror talking, or when you're driving in a car, the salespeople are normally talking. And this is the biggest takeaway. So if you're not doing this, if you start doing this, your chances of closing that deal is going to be a lot higher. You already know what objection is going to get raised. There are only 5 objections in the world, and I'll show you that shortly. So you should be scripted. You need to be knowing what you're going to say when they say it's expensive, when they say it's this, when they say it's that, right? So the most important thing is you got to practice it out. It's like driving a cycle, riding a cycle. Okay. Now let me quickly tell you. So who wants to know more about it? This is what it's going to be. And I'm telling you, if you pay attention to this, you will improve your selling skills immediately, instantly from tomorrow. Okay. Now, who is this not for? If you think I know it all, if you're the sort of person who thinks you know it all, then I say you're right. Okay. So maybe this workshop is not for you. Okay. If you're looking for a get rich quick scheme, there's no such thing. You may get smarter ideas. You may get some tips about what not to do and what you should continue doing. You'll get those signals, you know, that this is not where you stop, that you need to continue doing. So you get some idea, but there is no get rich quick. The only get rich quick is when you keep doing and you get better and you do bigger. That's all that happens. Okay. So there is no get rich quick. Okay. So if you're looking for something like that, buddy, you're not going to get anything out here. You may want to leave. If you're not an action taker, means you'll take all these ideas and stuff, but if you're not going to put it in action immediately from tomorrow into your sales cycle, you will not get results. But you are already action takers. I see you. You've given the time of being here and you've taken that action to be here, right? So you are already action takers, but take notes and apply it from tomorrow. Okay. Can I get an assurance for that? Give me a yes if you're going to do that. Give me a yes, everyone in the chat, if you're going to do that. We want action takers. Say action taker in the chat if you're an action taker. Yeah. Okay. Great, Harry. Come on. I want to hear it from everyone. Give me a yes in the chat, or give me an action taker in the chat if you're going to take action from tomorrow. Okay. Only Harry is going to take action. I'm going to wait till the others take action. So taking action starts now. Guys, take action. Come on. Are you going to be an action taker? So whatever tips you get from here today, we want to get the diamond in the end. And that's the action you're going to take from tomorrow. Okay. Hamid, come on. If you're going to take action, stay here. Otherwise, this is not for you. Guys, this is not for you. Birna, come on. Let's get a yes from you. If I'm not going to get a yes, I'm only going to do this. Okay, Mohammed, I see your hand raised. Awesome. Brilliant. That works too. Awesome, Birna. Thanks for that. And we have, okay, great. And then again, if you don't invest in yourself, you need to invest in yourself. And we always say time is a lot more valuable than money. And you being here right now, do stay till the end. There is a lot of good stuff in the end. And investing in your time is much more valuable than money. because we are all going to live, an average human lives only 80 years in their life. It's time that you can't get back. Money you can make. The better you improve your skills, you can make money. With sales is the best thing that financial income comes. The financial freedom comes from sales, right? When you do better at it. But time is something you will never get back. You can never buy it back, right? So the best things in the world are free. Oxygen, love, time, these are like free, but you can't do anything, you can't buy it with money. So are you all ready? If you're ready, let's get ready in the chat. So I'm not going to wait too long, but so the first thing about sales that you need to know about your own products is your positioning. Who am I and why me? Why should you be listening to me for the next 1 hour? So who am I? What's my credibility? And this, I want to give you all 10 seconds to think about your own products. Who are you? Which product are you bringing to the table for your customers? And why should your customer buy it from you and not from your competitors? Or why should a customer buy your product and not a substitute product? For example, why should he buy water instead of buying a 7-Up? So what is your clear positioning? Who are you and why you? Do you have that clearly in yourself for your own product? Just give it a thought. And if you want to put it in the chat, put it into your chat. So why should they buy, Harry, why should they buy your career counseling, your recruitment? Why should a parent buy it from you instead of anyone else? Do you have that clarity in yourself? Who are you and why me? This is called the USP, your unique positioning. And so presentations that will sell and presentations that convert, that someone spoke about, is basically why you. The more you can clarify these questions for your customer, and don't wait for the customer to ask you these. These need to come out in your presentation without them asking you, because this is one common question that comes on anyone's mind. Okay. So I hope you all have this. Okay. So as a homework, if you don't, sit down tonight and write this down. Who are you and why should he buy from you? Okay. So who am I? I'm a global sales growth authority. I've been selling since 18 years and I actually started selling very early in my life. Sold more than $100 million in sales revenues. So worked with Japanese companies like NTT Docomo, IT companies in Dubai, Omnix, which is another audiovisual AV, IT technology, blah, 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 company construction and stuff. That's what I do normally. And the last I supported was Samsung on their B2B displays and stuff. Here we were literally doing numbers up to the range of $52 million, which is almost $1 million a week. That was our weekly target. Worked with big brands in the career like Philips, Schneider, Siemens, EMAR, Nakheel, Cisco, talk about it. So, and hospitality is key again. So in this entire lifetime of experience, there's, been able to churn and understand the market and how the customers think. I need to change my field. No, Harry, you're good where you are. I'll show you how to succeed where you are, okay? You don't need to change your field. Okay, so I started selling at a very, very innocent and a very young age. But typically I was done with negotiating with my parents for a higher pocket money. I was done with justifying why I deserved the second movie in the same month with another set of friends. So it was just too much, right? I mean, we were not very rich, but my parents wanted to put me into a private school. So normally kids of our stature goes into a government school, which is cheaper and the people around me are not very high end, right? But my parents were ambitious and they put me into a private school. But then guess what? It came with pros and cons. And, I was done with justifying why I need that second meal or a second movie in the same month when I was allowed only one. So at a very early age, sales came to my rescue. And this actually gave me that freedom, that sense of independence, that sense of non-dependence. So I started with selling SIM cards back in very long back, when mobile phones were just launched. And but every SIM card I would sell that time, about what? 1990s and 96s and stuff like that, right? I would get 25 rupees, which is like 50 cents. But that is enough to make me going, But today I've launched rooftop sales. And I also have a franchise, which is about company growth and company strategy. Now, 10x CEOs is the franchise. But if you have read the news or whatever, when you start a company, 80% of companies fail, of new companies or startups. They literally fail in the first 3 to 5 years. How many of you have heard of that? Okay, so this is a very scary statistic. So one thing about sales, this is for you or every one of you, is collaborations and partnerships. When they say that 80% of new startups or new companies fail in the first 3 years, but 75% of franchises succeed in the first year. Okay, so somewhere it's about smart selling rather than hard selling. 70%, 75% of franchises succeed in the first year. So if you want to start a restaurant, are you going to start a restaurant with your own name, or are you going to start a McDonald's? Because starting a company or starting a restaurant is going to need a learning curve, which you could benefit from having it from a franchise. So who's going to start your restaurant with your own name? Rather, would you, if you've never done a business before or whatever, would you start with a McDonald's, with the chances of succeeding in the first year is more than 75%? Getting it? So if you're getting it, say yeah, right? Or say McDonald's if you're going to start a McDonald's. If you're going to start your own restaurant, say own restaurant, right? It's just an example. So this is what I decided to do. So I said, instead of just going hard rock, learning and failing and things like that, I don't have the patience. You work with collaborations and you work with partnerships. And that's when I went to 10x CEOs to learn on my own about how I can scale and grow a company. And then I said, you know what? Get on board with me as a franchise. Let me have you for the Middle East. And then I got the entire learning curve from Global Entrepreneur Exchange, which is about making businesses succeed. And then I realized that a business needs maybe many things to succeed, but my strength is sales. And that's when I came to who am I and why me? And I said, let's focus on sales, because that's where everyone shatters and struggles. And that's what keeps me going. So that's the mix that I figured out. And I said, okay, fine, Mr. 10x CEOs, you got me the entire skill set and I got you as a franchise, but this is going to be the positioning that I pick. So it's a positioning where you're not defeated. And that's the presentation that sells. Okay, so when you're selling a presentation, you need to find which is the strongest point, which is the domino that is the doubt in your customer's mind, and which is that big domino in your products that you're carrying that will make the objection drop. And that's what converts. Okay, so definitely started very early. Today, founder of 2 companies, and I also have a partnership. So I run 3 companies today, but I love helping businesses succeed with better clients. And I help salespeople to automate their targets and never have a month where they miss a target. Okay, it's about automation, it's about consistency. Then we run by the mission of 2x every client's revenue in the first year. And for that, it's not necessarily just hitting hard and working very hard. Sometimes it's about a change in strategy. Sometimes it's about a change in positioning. So let me give you an example. When I was in Samsung, when I started, our target that time was only $40 million in the year. Okay, so literally in 1 month, I had to do 3 million. So we would focus the first 3 months on getting the 3 million done, 1 million a week. And the 4th week, we would focus on making sure things are out of the warehouse and money's in the bank, because everything needs to get counted for our commissions, right? And you know, the trick with this global multinational companies is our salaries, they used to pay us only 60% of our salary. 40% of the salary would come when you achieve your target. You know, and if you miss your target, you literally lose 50 to 60% of that 40%. You understand what I mean? So only 60% was actually our basic salary, and 40% was on basis on achieving number. But the Koreans would put the numbers very high. So when we achieved 40 million, they were like, something must be wrong from the first place. So maybe they set the target not correct or whatever. So the next year, they made the number 52 million. So you're like, you know what, if 3 million goes to 7 million or 5 million, you understand, right? I mean, if $2 million, and this is dollars, not dirhams, if $2 million become 4 million, you understand. But if 40 million becomes 50 million, it's a huge, I'm like, what am I going to do now? Like, you know, but then we went back to the scratch board. You know, in Samsung, it works like, you know, you have silo companies, like, you know, so we were B2B for signage and displays and screens. And, you know, so the machines and the phones and all, there's a different team. And, you know, the teams of 5 people or whatever, and you run that, right? But we went back to the drawing board, we tweaked, we said, who else can I get? Okay, 5 stars are done, 4 stars are done. Can I get to the 3-star market? What does it take? And how can I change my pitch? How can I do different? How can I add services that they need? What can I do different? So we went to the scratch board and we said, who's the new partners that I need? And we actually, being an employee, still managed to change the dynamics of that offer and managed to get to 52 million the next year. In fact, we did a little more, 52 and a half or something like that. And we did get 100% salary, okay? So when you work smart and you think about where you can collaborate, you can think about where you partner, where you think about, it's not just about hard-on selling. You've got to think wider, okay? And especially in COVID, people have tweaked their offering, okay, a little bit. So you need to just have a little bit of a presence of mind and speak to your bosses like you are the owner yourself and think from his own perspective and see where you can add value. Everyone with me? You're getting it? So just think a little wider in your scope, okay? Like employee to entrepreneurship. And this is what we're talking about. The shift from employees, so the government normally recruits us to get the shift from mindset of their teams, the local Arabs, to move them from employee to entrepreneurship mindset. How the employees can start thinking like being their own boss, you know? Have you heard that? So what I'm going to share with you is not rocket science. I'm not slept in my dream and got it out myself. It's not rocket science, but I do believe everyone is born with a certain quest. And it's basically a drive based on which you must be a master in something, which will be your unbeatable strength. You, Harry, you could probably be the one who understands children. You could have that empathy. You could have that, you know, so you would have something which is a gift to you. And Birna, you could probably, your strategy and, you know, you're like, you probably have a strength which is unbeatably awesome for you. And Mohammed, we don't know what business you're in, but you also would. So every person is born with a certain quest. And the JV we talk about is exchanging and learning fast to fast track your knowledge. Not every, so I got my financial independence at an early age because I started selling at a very young age. And I started selling SIM cards. While my friends were like pretty much, you know, enjoying themselves and, you know, partying or studying or even, you know, just video games and stuff. I was on the streets telling uncles and aunties and teachers and even parents sometimes that buy a SIM card from me. But this only improved my axe and it sharpened my axe to get me financially independent at a very, very young age. But you know what I resorted to being an employee? I started using my commissions and my salaries to start buying real estate and to start going passive with real estate. But property market has its own pros and cons. In Dubai, you get off-plan properties. Okay, so I started using my sales because it could give me commissions and it had me not dependent on salary only. I could sell more and get extra commissions, correct? If you know what I'm talking about. So, but when I got into property, I had to make sure I don't miss any installment payment. Okay, so for that, I had to make sure my commissions keep coming correctly. So I had to sell better, faster, profitable, predictable, and consistent. This had to happen. There was no Ramadan that I could say sales didn't happen, sorry. And sales is one thing that no matter how hard you work, it's transparent, it's black and white. So in other departments, sometimes you can say, yeah, you know, I'm working hard, but you know, but in sales, if your number didn't come, you work for 3 months on a deal. And if you lost it, your number is 0, right? So you can be the best salesperson in 1 year. but you will start the next year with a 0, and you've got to start performing all over again. How many of you know what I'm talking about? So you cannot miss a target, okay? So you cannot miss, you've got to keep it predictable. And then that time when I started, I was reading Zig Ziglar's, I was reading, watching, they didn't have so many YouTubes, but of course we had a few videos, and literally anything and everything is what I was delving in to get the hang of it. And honestly, in spite of that, when I would go eventually in front of the big CEO, I would go cold feet. I'd be like, shit, I promised myself I'm going to say 5, 6 things. And I come out with saying hardly anything, or sometimes only one. How many of you know what I'm talking about? And it can be stressful, right? So it can be stressful. And that's why I say you have to practice speaking it out. Just reading or listening is not enough. You've got to practice the entire thing, speaking it out, because when you're speaking it out, it goes from your back of your mind to your top of your head. And this is what works when you're in front of that customer. Okay, so these are nuggets. It need not come as a statement and a point that I'm going to give you in a PowerPoint slide. There are going to be nuggets that you get all over. So if you're getting ahas, or these are takeaway notes that you want to take. Okay, so practice it all out with a friend, with your colleague, with whoever. And this is your biggest takeaway. Okay, tell me if you're going to do this. Action. Oh, come on, I want actions in this group. If you're going to do this, say, I will do it. I will practice before I go. Tell me you will practice. Come on, say it to yourself. So when you even type it out to me, you're telling that to your own conscious mind. You're telling your conscious to stop fooling you around all the time and listen to your instinct. Okay, so write it. I will practice. Yeah, practice the entire sales pitch, speaking it out, not just reading and listening. Okay, you've got to speak it out, and that's what works. You've got to. So when I work with teams today and I help them, I make them speak it at least 10, 20, 30 times before they make my first cold call. Like, you know, even before you make your first call, I make them speak a script at least 10 times in front of a mirror, loudly. They look like fools, who cares? Right? And that's a life changer. The more you speak your elevator pitch, the more you speak exactly what you're going to say when they say it's expensive. That's a life changer. Okay? So it's extremely important to do that. So why we're not converting better, what are the common mistakes? Is if you just remove a few common mistakes, your sales will improve by almost 15%. This being one of it, what I just told you. Okay. Most sales processes we say are outdated. People say cold calling is outdated. How many of you think cold calling is outdated? If you do say outdated in the chat. How many of you think cold calling is outdated? You don't do it. Not outdated or outdated, Harry? Not outdated. Well, it's not outdated, I agree. Calling is the most promising prospecting tool even today. You've just got to know how to do it. You can't spend time meeting people and stuff. You've got to 80% of your deal is qualified on your phone before you do that first meeting. Okay, if I was doing $1 million a week, I didn't have time to make 1 million meetings. I had to use the phone, right? So there is marketing and there is lead generation and digital marketing, and that's tweaked to cold calling. There is 2.0, because all of you today, you have never met me before, have you? I don't know anyone in this group before. Is it all of you meeting me for the first time? If you're meeting me for the first time, say first in the chat. Say first in the chat if you're meeting me for the first time. So all of you are meeting me for the first time, correct? So cold calling has tweaked a little bit. If you can do invite people to show interest, you're more powerful. So would you want to wake every morning and take your phone book or your Excel or whatever your CRM is and start calling people who are not expecting your call? Or would you rather wake up every morning, take a list of people who have clicked on something you showed, who have shown interest in something you did, and then you're calling them, which is more, much of a nicer feeling? Which is a more nicer feeling, the second or the first? Say second or first in the chat. Where someone has shown interest and given you literally a permission that now you can reach me, correct? So cold calling 2.0 is a little bit of a tweaked method, which is working today, where we invite people to show interest in something that you can do. And then you almost indirectly get a permission to call them. Okay, so I want to even tell you one more thing. There will be millions of ads that come to you on Facebook, but will you click on everything? No, you'll only pick something that is close to your subconscious, or something that's in your mind that you want to do better and things like that, right? So you're a qualified customer already. Getting it? And so I'm going to come to more points later. Now today, mobile devices are the conversion rate is currently, people are still not using the cell phone enough for mobile conversions. So people are still using websites on the laptop and things like that, and they're still not using the mobile phone. If you just start using the mobile phones better to start your conversion techniques, you will increase your conversion rate by 40%. Who wants 40% more sales? Who wants 40% more? If you want 40% more sales, type 40 in the chat box. So still our sales processes are very computer driven, very offline, very face-to-face. We need to start moving digital. We need to start shifting our mind. If you don't do that, you're going to start. WhatsApp is the new email, because people don't see emails, but WhatsApp they see, right? So I'm going to quickly tell you what you need to know, okay? First step in selling and getting better sales is, how do you build rapport? People buy from people. People never buy products from companies. They only buy from people, okay? Have you ever bought maybe even an Apple phone, which is available at the same price from the Apple store or the retail store or from people who are selling it? Probably you'll most times you'll get an Apple product for the exact same price. But will you buy it from some shop that you know that person? Or would you buy it from the next shop, which is right next to your house? Sometimes you will even walk the longer mile to buy it from the person that you know. Do you agree? So people buy from people. They don't buy products or companies, even if it's an Apple product, okay? So this is in B2B selling especially, unless you're selling chewing gum or something like that, right? But in B2B sales, building rapport is the most important, okay? How do you reach decision makers? So for Harry, do you speak to the moms or you speak to the dads? Probably understanding you, maybe you speak to the children. So because they become the biggest influencing nowadays, right? Or their friends. So sometimes their friends decide what the child is going to do, but who is the decision maker? Okay, that's important to understand. And how do you reach the decision makers? So sometimes, so Naimul and Mohammed, do tell me what industries you're in, because I'm trying to make it more relevant to Bid now and Harry, because I know what they do. So just type in the chat what industry you're in, because I missed that from you. And if you're a business owner and an employee, so I can make it more relevant to you too. So sometimes people just talk to the receptionist and start trying to get a meeting with the CEO. But the receptionist is actually paid to make sure you don't reach the CEO and not waste this time. You know what I'm talking about? So how do you reach the CEO if the receptionist is not letting you get there, right? On who's wearing the pants there. Women wear pants these days, okay, Harry? It's fun. So after working for 3 months on a deal, hey guys, Mohammed and Scribble. 1 second, let me see how I can get this off. Okay, that's gone. Let me see how I can stop you guys from doing it. Okay, so so after working 3 months on a deal, you realize that, so this is like if you're talking to the purchase manager sometimes, and you realize that the finance controller took the deal and decided and closed the deal and he finished. So you're probably speaking for 3 months with the CEO of the company, but then you realize that the IT manager went and did the deal and he closed the deal. So, I mean, how do you know who is the right decision? You can be talking sometimes in bigger companies, the CEO doesn't take all the decisions. He allows the finance controller has a say in the finance matters. The technical team have the say in the technical and engineering decide about the engineering matters, and they have an allocated budget and they decide what goes in. So how do you know who is the decision maker, and how do you make sure that you're reaching out and you're tapping all the people. And what's the technique to do that, right? We all go for meetings and events and stuff. And then we start sending emails. Hi, I am Alicia Sura from Rooftop Sales. I have 100,000 customers. I have so many awards. I do this and I do that, and I'm the best in this and I'm the best in that. And the person who's reading is like, what's in it for me? So these emails just don't work. You've got to understand that this is not some random list I've put. This is an order. If you've not built a rapport, then don't waste your time with. So your first objective of a networking email is to build a friend, is to build a rapport, get to know him better, and then start selling. You cannot start selling. I mean, you can do that, but it's not going to close enough. Okay, so I don't know if you do all the work and then the deals don't close, is that disappointing or not? It is, right? So if you skip steps, it doesn't work. Okay, sorry, I just need to stop this. Okay, let's stop the annotation for others. Oh, sorry about that, guys. Okay, all right, cool. So I'll stop the annotation so we won't have that issue again. Brilliant. So everyone with me here? So, and deliver a sales presentation. I think it was Virna, right? Who said that? The sales presentation that's built for a close. And, you know, some people are proposal junkies. They just make a call, send the proposal. Make a call, send the quotation, send the proposal, send the quote. Please, I'm sorry, you got to stop doing that. Sometimes people are just asking you for quotation because they want 3 quotes on their tender. They've already decided who they're going to buy from. But just because for audit or some sort of formality, they need to show their manager 3 quotes. Do you just want to be the second and the third quote? Can we stop doing this proposal junkie business? Because that's just wasting time. So the idea is, if you build rapport with your prospects correctly, if you know you're talking to the right decision maker, if you ask the right questions and you've qualified the buyer correctly, you've understood his problems. So the entire thing works on open-ended questions. How can you get the customer to talk more and explain? He will literally spell out your entire proposal template. Your entire proposal will be spelled out from your customer if you ask him the right questions. How many of you understand what I'm talking about? Salespeople talk only 20% of the time. The customer is supposed to talk 80% of the time. Okay, so if you just keep on doing your own talk, you're losing the customer. Because when the customer speaks more, he likes you more. Let me repeat this. When you are talking more, you will like me more. If I shut up and let you talk, you will be more fond of me. So that's what happens in our actual trainings. I don't talk much. You guys are the ones who are practicing, you're talking, you're pitching against each other and stuff like that. And that's what, so if you want to really close the deal, but what do you ask him? And you don't want to look like a CID, right? He's asking you so many questions. But a presentation happens only when you already know what the customer, and he's spelled out everything. You've approved the price, you've agreed with him that this is what I'm going to quote to you. And that's when you formalize. It's just a paperwork formality, a presentation. Okay, everything should be agreed beforehand. And that's how you do it. How do you follow up? So what happens normally is, even no matter how well you've done all the steps in order, once you send the proposal, the person stops answering your call afterwards. How many of you know what I'm talking about? After you sent your quotation to the customer, he will suddenly stop answering your phone calls. How many of you know what I'm talking about? Like, he's got his quotation, yeah? So how many times, so what will you do? You'll call him one time and he'll say, you know what, I'll call you later, I'm busy, or I don't need it right now, I'll take it later. Budget is not there, it's not approved. But then you know what, I mean, when you send the sales presentation and you send the proposal, you already agreed with him that you're going to quote this one. But now suddenly, after you send the official quote, he will not respond nicely. So what do? So how many times do you follow up on a deal, on a prospect after you sent your proposal or before? How many times do you actually follow up? Let's have a number from everyone. 1, 2, 5. How many times do you all follow up with a customer? Let's get a number from all of you. 3 to 4. Naimul, Mohammed, how many times do you follow up from a customer? 80% of sales requires at least 5 follow-ups. And 44% of sales rep will stop after the first one. So you'll call the customer and he'll say, I don't want it now, I'll call you back. It's not in the, or, we'll decide shortly, we're still thinking, or we'll take a few months or whatever. After you send the proposal, before you send the proposal, he'll call you every bloody day. Where's your proposal? Still not come, right? After you send the proposal, he just starts behaving like he didn't need it so urgently and things like that. But this is a fact. So if you don't follow up at least 5 times, it's not your deal. Someone else will, so you will follow up 3 times, and then someone else will come and do the 4th and the 5th follow-up and they'll take the deal. Okay, so that's aha for you, right, Harry? So, you know why people stop after the first follow-up? Anyone wants to know why people stop after the first follow-up? Say why in the chat if you want to know, otherwise I won't tell you. I'll go to the next point. Who wants to know why people stop following up after 2 months, after 2 calls? And because the first time you call and you try and build rapport and you try to understand family and whatever, and you say, okay. And the second time you call, he said, I told you last time I'm going to take a decision after 2 months. So you're calling after 2 months. You're not yet decided, whatever. And then third time you'll call and he'll say, not yet decided, we probably don't need it or whatever. Then you probably run out of ideas. So why people stop following up is because they run out of ideas of what to call now and say. Because you asked them this, you asked that, last call was this. Now you just don't know what to say. Am I right? And that's exactly why people stop following up. But there's a technique to the science. So if you, there are different ways and there are different touch points to reach to that customer where you don't look too pushy. Some people don't follow up too much because they feel they look pushy. How many of you feel it's pushy to keep following up? But there are different modalities of communication that you need to use, which will improve your conversion and it will not make you look pushy. Okay, so we also have scripts that I share for the follow-up. Okay, now how do you close more deals and without using discounts? So I normally believe this thing that if you just have to give discount, then you don't need salespeople. Just drop the price, it sells on its own. You hate coming across pushy and desperate, right? Harry, it's a mindset. Salespeople move the whole world works because something sells. If nothing would sell, the world would come to a stop. Economies would stop. No matter how much IT or the technology advances and automation happens, without sales, nothing will exist, So how much of automation happens, still sales is one thing that will always remain. So it's just the science and it's just the technique. It's just knowing what you're doing wrong in your process, in this process of which is your strongest or which is your weakest, and then you start working on. And that's what it is. And that will convert. When it converts, you will never stop. I can promise you that. It's addictive. When I started converting my second SIM card and third SIM card, until my first SIM card sold when my childhood days when I started selling SIM cards. But when the second and third started selling, it was like, oh, New Year party, I need to sell 2-3 more SIM cards. Okay, Christmas coming. Okay, let's find 2 or 3 for the party, right? So it was amazing. And it's liberating. Like today, I have, it's like freedom, literally, because you decide your income, whether you're an employee or whatever you are, so it's very powerful. So these are just some certain things is wrong in your process and because of which you feel that you're pushy. But there are techniques to overcome this, okay? So go deeper into what you're doing right or wrong, okay? So about closing deals without discounts, if you're just giving discount, your price sells automatically. You don't need salespeople. Okay. So when I was in Samsung and LG would always come out cheaper. And my team would come back to me saying, I need to give discount to match LG. And I'm like, look, we are not LG. Samsung is number 7 in the global top brands. LG is 96. So we're not competing with LG. If you can't position the brand and you can't value sell and you can't, then go, like, what the hell? Then why do I need salespeople? Right? How many of you know what I'm talking about? So if you're just going to drop the price and give discount, what good is that? So it's about positioning your value premium and higher and obliging your customer with the right, if you can't position it right, it's not going to fly, right? So, and how do you ask for reference? Okay, how many of you depend on reference for your business? Say I, if you do. Referrals and repeat business. So there's normally a slide which says 80% of customers say that they would have given a referral if they would be asked for it. But 50% of salespeople never ask for it. So, but let me give you this poll, okay? So this is very exciting. I'll launch the poll and I want all of you to answer this and I'll share the results. Can you all see the poll on the screen? Birna, can you see this? Can you see the poll on the screen? Do you all see the poll on the screen? Say yes in the chat if you do. So you can select one from this. Yes, you can. Thanks so much. So what do you think is the most important skill to become a great salesperson? Is it closing? Is it open-ended questions so that you can get the customer talking? Is it lead generation or prospecting? Is it objection handling, like where you get stuck with questions that it doesn't close because of objections? Or is it building rapport? Which one is the most important skill that you need to become a better or a great salesperson? Okay, I've got all the answers. So let me share the poll results that you've selected. Okay, great. You all can see the poll results, right? So once 25% we've had on closing, 50% selected prospecting, lead generation, nobody selected open-ended question, nobody selected objection handling, and 25% selected building rapport. Okay, lovely. So the right answer is, so yes, closing is extremely important because you work on deals and you don't close. But normally, closing should not be the major focus of any deal. If you find yourself spending a lot of time on closing, you've probably missed something in the process. Okay, you've probably skipped a step because it should be 75% of the time going on the top, the 7-8 points, and only 20% on objection, negotiation, and closing. So if you pitched your product right from the starting, your closing should fall in your lap automatically. Okay, that's how it works. Open-ended questions is important because you've got to get the person talking. And if you are the one yapping, it's not going to close because every sale happens emotionally. Nobody buys logically. Everybody buys emotionally. Okay. And open-ended questions, when they start talking, they start becoming emotionally involved with you because they like you emotionally. And that's when they start open-ended questions. And that's similar point with rapport. So rapport building, there are 3 stages of rapport building, 1, 2, and 3. And the third one is the most powerful, when you're emotionally connected with that guy. So one person, you have a product and he has that you need something and he has a product. So that's level 1. This is very cold, okay? But there are 2 more levels. If you come to that second and third level of rapport, then your chances of closing that deal is a lot higher, okay? Objection handling and closing goes together. Let's focus on that because you should be scripted, and objections before they are raised by the customer, they should be qualified beforehand. Okay, so I'm going to give you a few tricks in the end in the special bonus. So stay tuned, okay? How objection handling was done during this event. You're going to get it. So before the objections are raised from your customer, they should be taken off, okay? Prospecting and lead generation is the most important from this list. Because if you don't have brand new people that you're talking to, who will you build rapport with? And who will you open-end questions with? And who will you objection handle with? And who will you close? So the most important, and you've rightly selected, the majority, 50% of the group has selected prospecting and lead generation. This is absolutely right. Okay. Like everyone here is not someone that you've known me before. this is how I'm going to a brand new audience and communicating. So if you're not going to a new audience, then you're not lead generating only. So if you don't talk to a brand new customer, so 2 ways to scale your business, guys, or sell more. Take your current product and go to a new customer vertical. Or take a new product and go to your existing customer vertical. There's only 2 ways you can grow your sales. But you've got to keep talking to new people. So most salespeople are just talking to the same. So when COVID started, and one thing I noticed is most of the sales teams that we were coaching for companies, they were talking to the same customers that they're talking to in the last 2 years or last 3 years. I'm like, where is a fresh audience? And then you say payments are not coming, and then you say this is not happening. I mean, where is your fresh audience? So if you don't get a fresh audience, how are you going to convert more? Okay, so of course, dead deals are dead right now, but what can you do? You can't just wait and watch. So this is the phase to get when deals keep coming. And if you follow the process right, if the sales process is everything, if you don't skip steps and you do it right at every stage, deals will keep dropping and your conversion rates will be much higher. Okay, so I hope this is valuable, but I wanted to ask you one question quickly. Do you think more sales is more revenue? Say yes or no in the chat. Oh, I'll stop sharing the board. Sorry about that. Yeah, yes, right, Birna. And let me ask you this, does more revenue mean more income? Right, because the salespeople are the last ones that will get, what? No, Birna, no? More revenue is not more income? Less profits or what? I'm not sure what you're talking about. So when you get more income, what does that mean to you? So if you start as salespeople doing more sales, and then obviously you are likely for more promotions or more commissions or whatever, yeah, and you're always directly compensated. Even as business owners, when you can sell more, it's directly that you're relevant to getting more income for your own mistakes. So you never need to consider, I hate it when business owners start thinking about firing their people to make ends meet. Come on, it's your fault, fire yourself first. You've got to get more sales and more revenue to the business so that it's our moral responsibility as a business owner to make sure you're creating employment, because we are the ones, 85% of the world's economy is driven by entrepreneurs. So it's our responsibility to create more employment. So if your business is not making money, you've got to make sure there's more income coming. Instead of cutting costs and making income, let's find different ways of going to different verticals or going to different industries or going to different product lines and get more money. Now, this is Bill Gates. Nobody can challenge him, all right? He said, when I was young, I thought that money and power would make me happy. How many of you agree? Yes or no? How many of you think money and power would make you happy? No? Or yes? Yes, right? No, Birna doesn't think so. Money and power does not make Birna happy. Okay, cool. And Bill Gates says it was right. Temporarily, it's an addition. Right. So money is freedom. So, so at the end of the day, you can have the happiness, but if you are completely poor or something, something's going to come in the way, right? So this is Bill Gates, right? And I agree. It's one of them. So I want to quickly, I hope this was valuable, and I want to take the next 5 minutes, 10 minutes to share some bonuses, and we've put something together, and it may not be for everyone, but it could be useful for someone. And we've tried to put this together, which is in just 4 days, 2.5 hours every day, like 6 to 8:30 from Sunday to Wednesday. We do a little 4-day program, which gives you everything that gives you the skills and lets you practice it and script it out for your own business. If you're okay, I would love to share it. If you say yes in the chat, I can share this, or then I'll go to the bottom of the slide. If you want to share, it'll just take like 5 minutes for me to share this one. Are you okay? Can I get 5 minutes? If you say okay, give me 5 minutes in the chat, or say yes. Yeah? Okay, cool, great. So something, Harry, Naimul, Mohammed, were you okay? Mohammed said yes already. Okay, good. So what is important is, let me show you this one. This is extremely key.
I would like to say a few things about this course that we've been attending today for 8 hours, which seems to have gone as if it was 2 hours. I essentially came to learn how Olivia was facilitating the content of the course. The main thing I've taken out of this is that my knowledge is nowhere near great enough to be able to facilitate such a lecture, if you wish. I need to learn lots more, and I'm going to have to employ Olivia on several more occasions for the rest of my team, because I'm incapable of facilitating it myself. It's that depth. The knowledge was fantastic. I was asked what I took out of the course. I was asked 3 things. I think, like my profession, a tennis coach is a very honourable profession, and we touch many people's lives. I think salespeople do exactly the same thing. So I was very heartened to hear that Olivia thought that just being a salesperson, please take out the word just, is a very honourable profession also. I think it's essential that every single one of my employees has and will put together an elevator statement that is learned by heart, so that...
Sorry, I think the audio was not shared because of the... Okay, let me just anyway, I won't repeat it, but...
do how their company
Is it better?
can help our customers. It was a great day. I hope my colleague learned a lot from it also, and I'd like to thank Olivia and her husband for making us very welcome, and I'm sure we'll be doing some business again in the future.
So basically, what Clark is saying is this Clark Francis Tennis Academy. So they do the Dubai Tennis Opens and stuff, and he's got tennis coaches and stuff all over the city. And sorry for the audio being bad. I think the audio voice was not shared correctly earlier. But literally, we do a little bit of this elevator pitch, and he said my entire team needs to get it right and stuff. And then they engaged us to share the learnings with the entire C-level of his company. So all the CXOs, CEOs, CTOs, and he said, let everyone get this value of being able to sell, because it's not a one-person job, right? So it should come top-driven. And then he even further went to say all the 52 coaches. He has 52 tennis coaches who teach in, esports is rebranded as Clark Francis Academy was esports in all the schools and stuff. And actually, when he innocently came for the first day on the workshop, he had this thing that, this orange, the guy in the green, just in the middle, and there's a person in orange on his left. This guy closes like $1 million dirhams of tennis coaching in the year. And he's like, what's the second highest revenue one tennis coach makes? It's $500,000, second highest. And 90% of the other coaches do 200,000 to 250,000 in a year. And he's like, Olivia, what does this guy do different? I mean, just imagine if all my tennis coaches, all 50 of them start doing $1 million dirhams of revenue. How cool would that be? Now, what is this guy doing different? So, and that was his innocent question. And this is what he only came to literally find out and stuff, and it was so empowering when you kind of have the right questions, then you start going out in the search for the right answers. Okay, so very quickly at Rooftop Sales, we help businesses win profitable clients consistently. And we love to make business owners enjoy the stress-free time that they deserve. Okay, we love to do 2x in the first year, because I love to disrupt your offering and I love to disrupt your but even as employees, you can think of creative ways of redoing it or do better or what you're already doing. Okay. Our goal is to make revenue consistent, predictable, and profitable. If it is not profitable, then nobody is going to give commissions or anything. I mean, if you just keep dropping the price and going and doing lost deals, it's not sustainable. Nobody should do it. Okay. It's not sales to sell in loss. Okay. You've got to understand value and you've got to understand deeper on how it works. Okay. We love to automate the business revenue. We give you systems and tools where you can keep, and as the team, as all of you as employees will become self-motivated and self-accountable. I don't like bosses that come and say, where's the number, where's the order, where's the order? It's action driven. When I tell you that to get this number, it takes so many calls, it takes so many emails, it takes so many WhatsApp messages, and that's all you track. Because if that happens, the number automatically comes. Let me repeat this. I hope you got this. This is the key. So let's track action. So when we work with even businesses, we want to tell these business owners that please, sales is already stressful. The clients are already throwing a lot of tantrum at us. Please, let's not be another addition to that stress to our teams. Let's focus on actions. If we agree on certain number of action, if that comes true, don't let time take over your life. Like time, sometimes you just lose the day and you forget to even make 5 calls, and that is what kills the entire target. If you know what I'm talking about. So it's an action on the wall. If you just craft it out, and what does it take to achieve your number? And if you just in front of you on the wall and you just do a nice happy smiley next to it every day, it can be a happy smiley. Some days are not happy. I understand that. Some days are an okay neutral smiley, but it changes the world. Okay, so I hope you understand what I'm talking about. And these are tips that I'm giving you. So like I said, it's not going to be tips and takeaways are all over the workshop. It's not like scripted on a slide for you. So I hope you're getting the point. So sales is a game of numbers. And I love, it's a liberating skill to learn. Okay, now let me quickly tell you who is this for. It is if you're a business owner or entrepreneur, if you're a coach or freelance. A lot of people have lost jobs. They become freelancers today. So if you are, and everything we do is quantified into numbers, and you'll see that as you know me better. But if you're paying more salary to your staff than what you're paying yourself. So most business owners don't take salary. They end up paying to their employees, but they don't take anything for themselves. It's a hard reality. And your business doesn't allow it, right, sometimes. But I say it's not fair, okay? But if you've quit your job because you wanted to start your own business, and if that business is paying you lesser than your ex-job salary was, it's not worth it. You may want to consider going back. And there's nothing wrong with being an employee. There's absolutely nothing wrong. And doing a business is tough. It's not going to convert, and it takes a lot more time and effort. Okay. So, but not everyone gets it right? But one thing you will always see is people, 80% of businesses fail in the first 3 years, but the people who crack it become serial entrepreneurs, like Elon Musk or whoever, right? And anyone who's cracked a business one time and made it profitable or made an exit, he will start another one. So people who crack it only become serial entrepreneurs. It's a science. There's a tool to it. Many people are running businesses for 3, 5, 10 years, but year on year, if you're doing the same revenue or less, most businesses do the same 10 million every year. It's a degrowth. You're not even fighting inflation. Okay, so forget growing. You're not even fighting inflation. But again, if you're an employee or a sales manager or even job seeking, if you're looking for a job, sales is the number one skill to get hired. And they're normally the last people that get fired. Okay, your numbers talk for yourself. When I left from Samsung because I thought I needed a sabbatical to make sure I'm available for my children, everyone I used to work with converted my deals, my contracts into a conversion contract. And nobody wanted to let me go. So whether you have a job or not, you can still keep doing what you're doing. So I had contracts with Philips, with Huawei, with different biggest companies in the world without having a job. And I never planned it, but that's the thing. A good salesperson will never, is the first one that gets hired and he's the last person that gets fired. And it's absolutely fair. We're the rainmaker to the business, right? So why not? So if you're a startup or still thinking about setting up a side business or another business or anything, you need to work on your sales blueprint. Yeah, you need to work on systems that you need to work on revenue in detail about exactly how you're going to go and get your numbers. So I consult right now with a lot of incubation hubs with the government and things like that, accelerator and stuff like that. A lot of startups get funded based on some sort of projections they make, and then they don't get that number. So these companies that work with us, they say, please make sure the startups make that number. So please, let's not, if there's no revenue, there's nothing going to come. Please, we cannot just be looking at, okay, so if you understand what I'm talking about, we've put together a program which is professional selling skills. Number one, it focuses on your skills, on your selling skills, your practical selling skills. How can you listen better? How can you ask questions, open-ended questions, so that your prospect emotionally connects with you? You can build a rapport, your fabs, your objections, your closing. How do you do it? Entire skill set is that. But what is more important is your mindset. So Harry, in your mind, if you think you don't like, or Birna was the one who said she hates selling, right? In your mind, you think sales is not for you. You need to first fight that off. Because no matter what you do, if your mind is telling you something, you've got to get that. You've got to visualize the sale. You've got to understand. And how to do that? If you want to know how to do that, type a how in the chat. Type a how to overcome that resistance that you have in your mind. Type a how in the chat if you want to do that. So how is to increase your knowledge. So first you increase your knowledge, then you practice and speak in front of with colleagues or friends or whatever, with accountability partners. And then you overcome that resistance. So when the first time we went swimming in the pool, we were scared, right? And we had that negative mindset. But when you do more of it, you start becoming comfortable and you start loving it eventually. So knowledge can help you overcome that. So take knowledge, read whatever, but then even skill, and you can do it on a fast track or you can do it in your own, in the long way. But I took 20 years for me to get where I am. But not everyone has that gift, right? So it's about exchange on that gift and get there faster, because time is a limited resource. Okay. And number 3 is you want to understand your customer. So the more deeper you understand your customer, there are different types of customers and different buying techniques what work with different people. So if you understand their personality and you use the right technique with the right person, your conversion chances are much higher. So this is the package that we put together: your skills about selling, your mindset, and your customers. So I'm going to give you 2 bonuses very shortly. So just stay around just very quickly. So we have a few checklists. So everything that you do with the customer is given to you. Okay, like before your meeting, when you're calling, what are the questions that you want to qualify? You want to check that out. The last thing you want to do is spend time selling to someone who is not even a qualified, if he doesn't have the money or he's never bought something that you're selling in the past, and you're just wasting your time. So you want to ask the right questions and understand even before you do your meetings. Okay, then we give you ready-made scripts. What do you do when you're following up? What do you say when you are negotiating or closing your deals? We give you ready-made standard scripts. So in the workshop of the 4-day, you have your ready-made scripts, and then you write it in your own industry and in your own product at that workshop. And then you practice it with the team, with the attendees. So I'm giving you an opportunity to speak it out and have someone in the workshop who's learning the same techniques and the same methods from you to challenge you. You getting what I mean? So this is very powerful. So everything that we believe is what we are trying to make it together. So opening questions is extremely important. What to ask? Sometimes you don't want to look like a CID. So what do you ask to build that necessary emotional rapport? Okay. And at the same time, closing questions, because after you send your quotation and the guy stops answering your phone, and when he finally does, you got to ask him the closing questions. And you know what these closing questions are? If you want to know what these closing questions are, say what in the chat. These closing questions are similar or a family to the first opening questions, because in those opening questions, you got him emotional about why he needs that. You're going to get him into this problem zone of his. You're going to get him into that past, how that system was not working, and how his boss shouted at him. How important it is for him to improve that software. How important it is for him to get that thing for this thing so that he looks good in front of his boss. He's getting promotions and he's looking better income for his family from that. So everyone is buying because of an emotion, even if it's just a procurement manager, or even if he's an engineer, or even if he's a CEO. Everyone is buying for some emotional need. And that's what those opening questions will make you tap in. But then when he doesn't answer your calls, after you sent him the proposal, he's forgotten what he told you 1 month back. So what you're going to do in this closing questions, you're going to take him back into that zone and ask him those questions and make him rub it in for him and make him remember those things that he said that time, or why it was important for him to buy whatever you're selling to him. And this is a killer. This closes it for you. Okay, and there will be some objections, and we know that, but there are only 5 to 6 objections ever in the world. Can you script your answers to each of them before you meet your customer? Or are you going to practice with him? So this is the opportunity we give you. Can you script your objections beforehand in the workshop? So I give you the standard tested lines that work, and you make it customized to your own product and your own solution in the workshop. And then you practice it with people in the workshop and they challenge you on it. And that's how it works. Okay, so it's how many of you think it's very powerful? If you think it's powerful, type powerful in the chat. So we give you ready-made templates, and then you test it with your own products and services, and you customize your script, exactly what you're going to use. And then you just memorize it and you practice it in front of the mirror 50 times before you ever talk to your customer again. Every person I work with practices in front of the mirror 20 times before he goes in front of the customer, speaking it out. Okay, so that's what it is. And this is just a small thing. We're almost done. We're just going to take 3 minutes, and then a special bonus for you and questions in the end about your own businesses. Oh shit, sorry. So this is Philip.
My name is Anand Joseph. I'm the Vice President for Sales and Product Management at Blue Rhine General Trading. We are established in 6 countries in the GCC, where we distribute products mainly into the signage industry. And one of our key product areas of growth is digital signage, where we are the distributor for Philips. We've been a distributor for Philips commercial signage screens for the past 4 years. And very recently, about 7-8 months ago, they had given us the opportunity to partner with Philips also for their hospitality range of screens, which are for in-room guest displays for hotels. And fortunately, we were introduced to Alifia around that time, and she has helped guide us through this industry, which is definitely a very new vertical compared to what we've been doing in the past, which is mainly in the signage and retail and commercial developments. So hospitality is a brand new segment, and fortunately with her experience and sales training, she was able to guide myself and my digital signage team to also understand the hospitality industry and target specific projects so that we could gain a foothold gradually.
So in the interest of time, I'll let this pass. So just quickly what the package is. Normally we sell it at 1,500 for a 4-day intensive, but with the code, which is the bonus, which is RTS 55, you can get it for 675 euros. Okay, so with this code and the special code, when you put that in, you will get it for 675. And that's the link where you can buy from. Let me see if I can give that to you in the chat. So if you like to sign up, but there is one small bonus that I'm going to give one more, which is quite attractive, to be honest, which we've never done at this rate before. But I want to encourage you all to use these inputs and use it on your own. I'm going to pass this. Or let's join hands and get that together. Okay, you can have the best product or service in the world, but if you can't get more customers for it, there will be no income, not for your business, not for you. Okay, sales skills are life skills. When you learn a little bit and you apply it, you get better and better and better at it. It is a life skill, and till the time you die, you will use it. You'll use it with your family. You'll use it to raise funding. You'll use it to like negotiate at a shopping mall or whatever. You will always use sales skills. So it's not a skill you can ignore. And 80% of the world is not officially into sales, but actually they're all into sales. Okay. So what is more valuable? Let me ask you quickly, time or money? This is an important fun one. What do you think is more time valuable, time or money? Let's type time or money in the chat. Time or money, time or money, time or money, time, right? And money, yeah, Harry. So if whoever said money, we have a money back guarantee. So of course, I agree time is a lot more valuable than money because time is something you can never buy. So if I lose this time, I'm going to die at the destined time that I'm already fated to go at. But if I can improve my life while I'm alive, if I can reduce the stress in my life, if I can live a better life or earn some more money, then why not, right? So I would rather spend money to improve my standard of living or whatever. So if on the second day you don't find the workshop worth your time or worth your money that you've given, you get your full refund. So you get 100% money back. So it's a 4-day workshop. It happens normally it will be the first week of December. And we invite you all to come for it. It will be from 6 to 8:30 in the night, every Sunday to Thursday. And it will be in the first week of December. Okay, so if anyone interested, the special bonus is here, which is only valid for the next 2 days. Okay. If you sign up on the link within tomorrow, so it's today and tomorrow normally, so within Thursday, if you sign up for this program within tomorrow, you can actually bring a buddy along. You can actually bring a friend along. Now, don't let this friend stop you from signing up. Okay, this friend we do these workshops almost every quarter. So he can come for any future workshop anytime. So if you sign up right now and you don't immediately have a buddy or don't immediately have a friend who will chip in the amount or whatever you want to do, but $675 in our opinion is not expensive, to be honest. For 4 days of intense shortcut of everything is not expensive. So if you want to sign up immediately within the next day, then you can get a free partner along. So one more person can join with you the training. So it almost comes to like 300 dirhams for a 4-day training, correct? So it's very, very powerful, and what you take away will be very aggressive and very powerful for you. Okay, so I encourage you all to come for it, but don't let the buddy stop you. He can always join in the future, or you can come for the second time. I do the workshop. I'm the sales trainer. It's my own company though, but yeah, I do have a team who's been following up with you, but well, I do the training heavy. So I'm pretty much with you all the time. So do join up and learn, because the best investment you can do is in your own skills. So skill set, mindset, and customers, plus all the bonuses, which is checklist, the scripts, the opening questions, the closing questions, and invaluable, I would say. This is, okay? 4 days intensive, you get it for $675. If you buy within the next 2 days, you can get a friend along, okay? Or you can attend it twice. Okay, it's very, very powerful. You will never regret it, I can assure you. We're just doing this to help the community during this time of COVID. Don't forget to use the code. If you do not use the code, you'll end up paying me $1,500 because that's the standard price. The schedule, I'll tell you, just give me a second, Birna. I hope this has been valuable. I enjoyed teaching you all. And quickly, my life mandate is anyone who lives within their means suffers from a lack of imagination. We've got to go beyond our borders. We've got to become the next Google, the next Intel. Why not, right? So let's think big. How are these guys making it so big? And what does it take to get there? Is the question, okay? But I also have your life mandate, which is, if you keep doing the same things that you've been doing till now, you're not going to get different results. So it's time to change. Somewhere you want to get to your next level of skill, because if the same thing has got you these results, don't waste another year to figure it out. Don't waste even another month. Okay, so don't be insane. Get on board and do it. It's just 600 dirhams. You spend it over a lunch or a dinner with a family. Okay. If your mind is telling you, follow your instinct is what this slide is about. So if you think you want to do it, sign up now. If you think you don't want to do it, still sign up now, because your mind is not a good, listen to your heart and listen to your instincts. It's the one that will guide you right, because the mind will always keep you low and keep you stable. It will never let you go forward, right? So listen to your instincts is what we're talking about. How big are the groups? Normally not very big. 8 to 10 people we try to keep, 10 to 12 sometimes. But with buddies, sometimes maybe there are 10 to 15, but we try to keep it small so that, because it's very practical and it's very hands-on. So we don't want to just do very big groups. It doesn't work with our value system, to be honest, because we want to make change and we want to make sure you can apply it. So we just don't want to fill big groups at all. That's our contact. And yeah, my head has grown because of COVID. I need to change that picture. It used to be short some time back. And do share your diamond, your biggest takeaway, okay, in the chat. I'm going to tell you the dates. So that's our contact. You can reach out to us anytime you like. And yeah, so schedule is going to be first week of December from 5th, I think. Let me check. From 5th to the 8th. From 5th to the 8th. And it will be from 6 p.m. Dubai time to 8:30 every day. I would encourage you to keep an extra half an hour in the end in case you want to practice some more with the people. You can keep that, we can extend up to 3 hours, but 2.5 hours is where the material will stop. And we encourage more practice in the end. So half an hour more is recommended, but I know it's at dinner time and all that. So no worries, it's 6 to 8:30 from 5th to the 4 days in the first week of December. And this 4 days is mainly for setting your numbers for next year. So 2022 is going to be the number that we want to focus on. So what you want to achieve in 2022, and that's what we're going to break down, how much work you will do on a daily basis and on an hourly basis. And you will go with your table where you're going to check mark with smiley faces every day after that. So that's what we want you to do. So it's going to be a blueprint for your next year achievement. So we love it on the first week of December, which will set so you will practice what you learn in December. Yes, it will be on Zoom. Yes, it will be on Zoom. If we get most of the members are from Dubai, then we may consider doing a face-to-face. But since it's 6 to 8:30, I'm not sure. So we will, since we always take small groups, we are open to face-to-face, but actually it's currently, it will be on Zoom. Let's keep it on Zoom. Let's keep it less complicated. So diamonds, please, everyone, diamonds. Can we do the course on Zoom? Yes, it will be on Zoom, Birna. And Harry answered your question. Schedule I've given. Who does the workshop? It's me. And time and money both are important for Mohammed. So Mohammed, what do you do? Are you a business owner, or you can talk now? We are done now.